Scott in interpreting the concession agreement. The second was Paul Hastings. That's primarily related to Florida litigation, and also, I believe, for Alshire Blinder with respect to litigation with Montana Water Company over groundwater overpumping. So most of 44% of our expenditures were in that area. Operations, as mentioned, day-to-day, so code enforcement, development services, public works. When we do contracts, usually we do account reviews. So 32% of our expenditures, so it's legal expenditures, not litigation, are spent on operations. Personnel represents 21%, so 1.8 million over the last 2.5 years. And then the other matters are considerably less. So you can see most of the expenditures are in those top three categories. So we provided the details before by case, by attorney's firm. They just tries to roll it up into simple categories of where we spend our money.
So the personnel one, that's where employees have come back and had cases against the city, correct?
Could be that. Could be lawyers that we could seek advice on just day-to-day employee discipline matters, or classification matters, anything that's related to personnel.
So that's still not
Strictly litigation.
okay.
So it could have to do with negotiations as well?
So it includes litigation, but also includes general legal advice. So it includes, labor negotiations as well.
So any idea what part of that 20% is actually?
Employees suing the city?
Yeah.
I can probably drill down even further and get you that number.
You know what? Don't worry about it. I'm just. They say something. They want it out there. It's irritating. So thank you for what you've done, Rob.
Yeah, there are. I wouldn't say that's a dominant feature of our expenditures. Usually, it's in the past year we had the Flores case, which had legal costs associated with it. There are lawsuits. Some employees, top 10, most of them are police, but there are some that are scattered throughout all the departments. When they separate from the city, they sue us for damages or some cause of action. So we have to defend those. But I wouldn't say those are normally large components of our litigation expenditures, unless it's a really trying case and we have to get into depositions, and then you can start running up the bills.
So a guesstimate would be a good 5% of it is employee related?
5% of the total?
Yeah.
5% of the 21%.
In the 5 to 10% range is employee-related litigation.
All right, so it's not 100%, that's for sure.
It's not a majority either.
Yeah. Okay. Reference that number 5 to 10.
No, it's kind of been dominated by the utilities the last few years because we have some significant lawsuits for chloride, groundwater overdrafting, and you can see that's driving up our legal costs. Those are all paid for from the utility funds. Ratepayers ultimately pay those. But if you looked at the general, if you took that out of the equation, and just looked at operations on down, obviously it would be a bigger, it would be 35 to 40% would be personnel-related matters. So again, statistics fly, and liars use statistics. It depends on how you want to look at it.
David, is that on? Is that recorded?
Yes.
I think you're supposed to let us all know that we're being recorded for our permission.
Well, it's a public meeting, so technically no. But if we because of it didn't. I didn't start it until after we approved the minutes. I was just going over some of the things that people are asking questions about, like the legal costs, the fire district, stuff like that.
Just being the advocate here, that's all. Be nice to know. I might end up on YouTube or something.
No.
Are we being recorded anyway?
We are being recorded.
Yeah, we're being recorded. We have been since meeting number
Right,
1
right.
for note-taking purposes for accuracy. Yeah, that's correct.
But I don't know if we're being videoed.
No, we're not. That's the problem. Is a lot of people don't have time on Mondays to come down here. I mean, I barely got here. My wife walked in the door. I walked out the door, kind of thing. So, if we really want the public to know what's going on,
I believe when the committee was formulated that it was supposed to be video recorded, if I'm not mistaken, no? We might want to check that. I heard that from one of the council members. But it's okay. I mean, we're doing it now. We're good.
Is there a specific purpose, David, why you're recording it?
Public information
Just public information, will you be posting it anywhere?
on my blog.
Just on your blog?
Yeah.
I'm just asking in case someone wanted to know, like, because I'm glad that
Where
you're
they can
doing
go and
it,
see it.
so, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought everybody knew. I write the blog Rialto Now. You either love me or hate me. There's nobody in between. And I do have a YouTube channel where I house my video content. I'm not a rich guy. I don't have a big server where I can house all this stuff. So I utilize my YouTube channel as a place to house video and stuff. So that is, and I apologize because I did record one meeting
Yeah, I had no
where
idea.
what was it? I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was when the city attorney came out. So there is video on.
I had no idea you had a blog. Now I know.
Oh, I
Could
do.
you shoot us the location of your blog? So we can-
Rialtonow.com. It's not
Is
hard.
that it?
Rialtonow.com.
Thank you.
David, unlike the city though, that just points in one direction.
That's
right?
pointing right there at that podium.
Because I noticed there's cameras up here, and they,
Yeah, the
one
city-
points over here, and one points over here, and then there's one over there, so.
And it's so far away, I end up zooming in to actually get the podium, so.
Okay. I just thought I'd just, like I said, it being me.
Sorry, I've been doing it for so long, I assume now that everyone just knows, so I apologize.
No, I definitely have a problem with not being advised. I would assume that they want to videotape the committee that I've joined in. I assumed we were being taped here in the chamber. But next time I would like an advance notice. It's just courtesy.
That's fine.
To his credit, he, like he said, he thought everyone knew. I did. We'll check the blog out there.
All right. So, second, actually, this isn't a follow-up, but there is some information. We didn't get to this last time, but the CIP contract services, mentioned last week, Kyle Johnson. By the way, Kyle left the city, so he won't be attending anymore. So, how to fill his role in the absence. But this was his last act and testament before he left.
He's not buried somewhere, is he? He's not buried somewhere, is he?
But you did ask for some supplemental information, so we did try to provide that. So I pulled out the development services income
Why are
and
you-
expense statement related to CIP, and then covered
I
down
just
to
happen
try
to
to
be
indicate how much
the
we
name
collect
in
from
Both of those, but you would name those ones, so.
and likewise, Public Works collects,
Nice 1%.
puts in only about the same amount of plan check revenue as we do, 2.9 million, and spends about the same amount as we do on plan check services for external sources. So I provided that information to you as a supplement to that report from February 5th. So that report gave you all of the CIP contract services by name of vendor that we expended for the first half of the year. And then it also provided you all the non-CIP related contract services that the various departments have engaged, so you can kind of get a sense of how much we're spending this year on contract services and for what purpose.
So the Lockwood Engineering is for Public Works and the Wilden Associates is for Building and Safety?
Primarily, I think they both work for both departments. Lockwood works a little bit for my department, mostly for Public Works. Wilden works for both of us, building plan checker for development services and as construction inspector for Public Works. But, you know, kind of as a segue into the next conversation, Lucy has a presentation tonight, and her presentation is on, you know, the pros and cons of hiring versus outsourcing. This is sort of an important topic for us as we move forward. Obviously, one of the things we've argued for, if we have financial stability, we feel more comfortable hiring employees. I think my personal opinion is we've probably swung the pendulum a little bit too far on hiring contract employees. We need to swing the pendulum back a little bit more and bring some employees in-house. But in order to do that, you need to know what your financial future looks like. Hence the reason why the utility tax, I think that's an important component for us. So she'll get into the advantages and disadvantages of contract versus in-house employees.
Will Lucy also have information about the number of employees that are contract currently coming in here? opposed to the ones that are already full-time employees of the city?
You're asking how many contract employees we have relative to the total?
Right, like, development services has 20 employees, and of those 20, 5 or 10 are contract employees, the others are full-time
I
city.
can tell you we have 21 full-time equivalent employees right now, we budgeted, there's a couple positions that are vacant.
Okay.
And I have 3 building inspectors, we outsource plan checking, so let's just say there's one full-time plan checker that does all our work, that would be 4. And then we use temps to fill in for vacancies and other things, so you might say we have 5 or 6 contract employees.
And would that be included with your 21 total? Or is
No,
that
that'd be in
aside?
addition to.
Addition to.
So, just about 30% of our workforce, you could say, is contract employees. And then, we use contract services for a lot of spot assignments. I'm not really including those. I'm only including those contract services that are like full-time equivalents.
Okay.
Rob, can you talk into that mic?
Oh, sorry. And then Public Works is probably, do you have a sense, Robert, what your complement is? You probably have, what, 7 or 8 contract employees?
Yeah, it's about that.
And which employee complement?
Yeah, it depends on what area you're talking about. I mean, just
Say engineering.
engineering, it's probably about half of that, it's about even,
60-40 ratio?
about 60/40.
60% full-time, 40% contract, or,
The other way.
whoa,
60%
60%
contract?
contract?
In the engineering.
So there's 2 types, there's the documentation, and then there's all the individual specific projects.
I would see the employees that are more like full-time equivalent, so your construction inspectors kind of fit into that category. A couple of the project managers probably do as well. Not just spot assignment.
So that, and they are, even those are even mixed, but we'll have specific proposals for specific projects versus more general on-call.
What is the total number of, in Public Works, total number of city employees,
Total for the department?
just for the department?
What's your employee complement?
Well,
I'll
talk about even the field. and
Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
See, I've
50?
added each division, huh?
Probably 50?
Yeah, about 50. And we're still recruiting a couple positions right now too, so I have to go back and.
That includes the field guys.
So maybe 20% of their
okay, but
all
they're,
departments.
So-
but they're full-time city employees, they're not
Yes.
contract?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So we've already been advised of the advantages of contract people. When times are slow, even all these that we go in contracts and such, they of course are not in the PERS system, so they don't accumulate anything with that. I'm assuming their insured benefits and all are covered by their company. How, due to the expense of a contract, it's usually more than an employee, that has been balanced and weighed out before obtaining a contract employee? Because, when is a project over? Like some project's over, then you send them off to another project that we may have, obviously working with this company, and they might have the next project. So rather than having a permanent employee, you actually are doing the company over and over and over for projects that constantly come up, that take a few years to complete.
There's some of that, and, especially with the on-call contracts that we have that are over